And now on Pub Wisdom is a time I like to ask a very deep philosophical question. Like, why do women like to dance so much? I mean, I know what goes through a man's head on it.
Oh, woman. Woman. Yeah. Oh, woman.
What is it exactly that goes through a woman's head?
Yeah.
Because I really think there's something deeper there. However, keep dancing, women. We love it. Cheers. Deep psychological, philosophical. What's going through a man's brain?
Pick it.
What woman? Whoa, woman, wah.
Woman. Woman.
Oh shit, this is like clear.
I mean, that's clearly obvious. I can't die to who it is I am. I'm a man. And I most definitely am into women.
I'm a man and I want a woman. Wow, that is like perfectly clear. Very fizzy. Crazy stuff, man. Shh, it ain't beer, but... Alright, we're back in the pub for part 3. Oh, wow, man, put that phone away. Well, let me check mine too.
Wait. Oh.
Airplane mode.
Oh, you want me to put it away?
Yeah, it's really should be off and away, but it is what it is. But well, back in the pub for part 3 with Comic Book Rob, man. Part 3, here we go. We're about to get deep and philosophical about woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man, and you're the whoa man. But in all seriousness, I mean, modern society is trying to make it look like we're all the same. We're all the same. We're all the same. I'm like, bullshit, we're not all the same. Especially men and women. Even people that like to look at differences between races, it's like there's far less difference between race to race than there is from male to female. Biologically, there's just a big difference there. I don't like all the gender confusion stuff that people like to throw in there and whatever, dude. Be who you are and try not to push your crap on me. That's the biggest thing.
Well, that's it. That's it right there. You know, be who you're going to be. Just don't push it off onto me.
Right. So
let me have a choice of being who it is I want to be.
And that's the way everything should be. And it's, I think that's the antidote to all that kind of anger and fear between those types of people that like to debate that shit all day long. But we're here to talk about women and men.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about women, Rob?
They're very beautiful creatures.
Totally agree.
Beauty enhancement. I mean, most of them. I mean, for the most part of it, women also have a tendency when they're doing right and doing good to make really good mothers. Great companionship. I like female friendship, I guess, on certain levels, you know.
Well, I think they bring the softer side of things in I view men and women as like chaos and order. Men tend to prefer extreme order, where women live in a more chaotic, whether they admit to it or not, chaotic existence. But I think the two need to work together.
Yes.
Because without one, the other never changes or grows or progresses. So, kind of like a good example of when it comes to disciplining a child, and if the man's like really, really, really firm and wants to come down and harden the child, sometimes it takes the woman's softer energy to add some feelings to it. Say, listen, and then kind of come in. So the two need to work together and communicate and work things out to
balance out, maybe a procreate better discipline.
The balance, yes. So
Right.
in a family unit, or even in a more corporate world, or anything there's a leadership hierarchy. I think you need a balance of male and female opinions in there, and because of the way the two different minds work, and everything from neuroscience to this flat out biology shows us that men and women are so different. And what I like about women, honestly, it's like the softness, the beauty, femininity. It's the opposite of what we are. And it's like, we're males, we're kind of grunts, we're big apes. We're workhorses. We like to do a lot of stuff, but sometimes things require a softer touch, and the women are so much better at it than men. And
Yeah.
to see that and appreciate it is like, oh, okay. And to know there's differences. I mean, if we were the same, the proof would be out there. So if we were the same, like, oh, men and women can do the same jobs and same work and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, look at the Olympics. Why? Look at the men's divisions and the women's divisions, and any event.
Right.
There's a gap between best men and best women. You could take men and women overall and go, hey, oh, by the way, there's some overlap. And you can, oh, this woman's way better than that guy. Well, okay, there's the overlap. But in general, on average, there's a big gap in terms of physical performance. And maybe there are some things that women are better at than men, but that also shows yet another difference. Not that we're not the same. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting things to look into with that. And I think if people are afraid to admit that, they want this idea of total equality is just, it's a worthless idea. I mean, it's good in heart. It's good in the idea, good in practice, but the result is not ever going to end up being what you want it to be. We'll never be perfect equals. No two human beings are actually perfect equals. We could be looked upon on equal ground, but we're not exactly the same. And if we were, one disease would kill us all, right? If we were all exactly the same. And we lived through a pandemic recently. We all didn't die. And it only affected certain types of people. That shows you differences. So I'm kind of trailing all over the place with this, but there's a way it's like all the different things I've looked at in my life kind of showed me all these different things. But the love and appreciation for women and their beauty and the things they do in nature, right? I mean, I did the shorts or the reels of why women dance, It seems to be innate in some women. Right. They hear music, they just start dancing. Well, what does that do? What does a dancing woman do? When you see a woman dancing, what do you think? What goes through a man's mind when you see a woman dancing?
Shapes, curves, moving.
Yeah.
That get my thing?
Yeah. It ends up being it's a sexual display is what it is.
Right.
And yeah, when they have curves and they dance in a way that accentuate their curves, it's like, wow, that shows off to a man like this woman's like ready. So yeah, for me, I always grunt it's a testosterone flare.
I mean, a really good woman has the potential to bring great value to a man's life.
Oh, absolutely. Not only great value, but she can push that man to even greater heights.
Yes. If you've got a good woman by your side, you have an absolute 100% good thing. And I think that's what every man searches for. I know in my path to find that woman, that's pretty much what I look at. She have good qualities, she decent, she have a good friendly attitude and behavior, on those lines.
And those are features that aren't physical, right? So
No,
our social media world has made things very much in the physical plane. Like we were talking last segment about dating apps and stuff like that. A couple of photos and some text, it doesn't encompass someone enough, right? Photos, you can look good, and looking good's only part of it. That's the initial attraction, right? And that's what brings people together is the looks. But beyond that, there has to be those other qualities that people don't work on. We can work on our looks all day long.
Right.
You go to the gym, you can get in shape, you can look great. And women have all kinds of ways to accentuate themselves with hair, lips, heels, and bras to push their boobs up and stuff like that. All that to make them look more attractive. But that's only the physical side. And it's a lot of work that goes in that. Totally appreciate it, ladies. But
I do like women to have good non-physical attributes. The other one is hardworking, which that could fall into a physical attribute. But
I mean, you can work hard and not be physical about it. It's just you're persistent with what you do and the tasks you're doing. And
true.
Yeah.
You can work hard without being physical. That is true. She has a good job, or not so much a good job, but at least, the conditions that she does have a job and she applies herself to do. And a woman that looks to better herself inwardly as well as outwardly. That's good.
Yeah, I agree to that too. Yeah, it's
Somebody that has some kind of directed moral compass, so to speak.
a good moral compass, goals of their own, which
Goals, yes. Somebody that sets goals is definitely recently I'm setting a new goal. I'm looking to lose some weight and get into shape.
we're going to see this guy by August look like the Arvid he needs to be.
The incredible Rob. Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
Get back into your powerlifting shape, buddy.
Yes.
So you get big and strong again.
I'd like to do that. That's something I would definitely. That's a goal that I'm going to be working on in the next 10 years. Is bettering my health. For a lifetime.
Right.
Just constantly work on bettering me, physically and mentally. And I want somebody that's looking to do the same thing. A woman that's looking to do right by the man that she's with, and me being the man looking to do right by the woman that I'm with. That's probably the basis for forming a strong relationship. Is you got somebody you can trust.
Trust and loyalty are the two huge ones that you have to have. And unfortunately, nowadays we're exposed to so many other options that trust and loyalty fade pretty quickly. And I think the women don't. There's a lot of women that don't appreciate the long-term value. I think, not saying that they all. I never say all. I'm very, very choice with my words. I don't say all, but I think there's a lot, majority, on average. Those are fair statements to make when you're generalizing. You can call it what you will. You can call it stereotypes. But I mean, there's, like a joke, there's always some truth to it, and so it helps you navigate the world. It helps you kind of figure things out and try to find the traits in a woman that you want that are more in line with your morality and your goals and things like that. And yeah, I think having a woman with same moral compass, which is very important, and same or similar goals. They don't have to be the same, but similar goals. Like you want to achieve something, and I want to achieve something. If they align, awesome, much better. But if they don't align, well, you take a little time to support me, I take a little time to support you in that process. And we both see each other succeed and celebrate that success, not have any type of animosity toward it. Like, well, they succeeded and I didn't. It's like, no. When you're together and one of you succeeds, you both succeed.
True.
And I think that's something that both sides need to appreciate. And
Correct.
so yeah, it's interesting to say this kind of stuff. It's like to talk about this subject, and I kind of, another motive is that it's like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Hey, future woman, look for this kind of stuff, right?
True.
If I'm out there in social media and or any type of media, and I'm single, I'm looking for a woman, and hey, I do this podcast and blah blah blah. Check it out. You're going to get some insight into my head and my guests and stuff like that, and hopefully see. I'm trying to be an open person. I'm trying to listen to other people, find out what they know, relate that with what I know and try to build my knowledge base and try to learn and grow from that. And I think having the growth mindset is one of those attributes I'm looking for as well, because that's something I'm trying to do myself. And I love learning, and if there's someone out there that can teach me something, I'm going to really like that, And I think there's no end to that gaining of knowledge. So that's kind of my quest, I guess. Again, I'm rambling on, but damn, women are hot.
Yes, they are. Last time we were on here, we kind of touched bases on what needed to be was set within better boundaries in relationships. Not being a self-centered person is probably one of the main keys in forming a better relationship with people.
Yeah, and I think it's a tough balance nowadays because the success level of what you can achieve in social media is a lot of self-centeredness.
It is. It is. It's
and me doing this is, I'm not trying to boost my ego. I'm just trying to expand my reach in terms of the conversations I want to have. I want to have these good conversations, not just with good friends and people I meet along the way, but I want to be part of the bigger conversation, the bigger conversations that start to affect the world. The Joe Rogans of the world. I mean, he's number one in podcasting, right? A lot of what he says, people take like gold, man, and he's just a lot like me, but more advanced with the whole process. He's learned a lot. He's talking a lot. He continues to learn from his guests, and then he compiles stuff and he puts it back out there, and it's a lot of really intelligent stuff. But he's in a student mindset, and he's putting that out in the world. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's, gosh, if I could get this podcast to do that to even a small degree, I'd be happy with that. I'm not here to expand my ego and say, look how great this guy is. And not about that. I'm actually semi-introverted. Like, I can switch and become somewhat extroverted when I do stuff like this, but outside of that, there's times I like to just shut down. I shut down and I do nothing. And it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I just need to shut down and just have quiet time to myself. And I think that's one thing that some women don't understand about me is maybe because they can't have that or they don't have that in their lives. Oh, for crying out loud! That it's just the fact that they don't understand it. That I need that, and they think something's wrong. Oh, this is good news. Okay, I'm gonna go back to airplane mode. But yeah, it's just thinking about that. It's like. These are qualities I have. These are qualities I'm looking for something similar. At least, if they don't have them, they can accept my qualities, and I think that's a big part of it. And it's like you don't have to have all the qualities I'm looking for, and I'm hoping the same in return. That even if I don't have all the qualities they're looking for, they can accept some of the things I am. That
some of the qualities that you do. I understand that. That's a big thing in relationships, man. If they can't accept certain things, or it ends up turning into arguments, and on a certain level, you've got to be able to accept people for who it is they are. I mean, that's got to be on a level within a relationship.
I think that's any relationship, friendly or not, it's relationships with people in general.
Yeah, if you can't, I mean, there has to be some rejection to a degree, especially with certain types of behavior in a relationship.
Yeah, I don't accept everything.
No.
But how you react to it is a different thing too. So,
like if I had a girlfriend, I'm really into a knitting hobby. Well, I'm not going to be there with you, but hey, that's okay.
Yeah, support.
Right.
Yeah, I see it brings you happiness and joy. I'm all for it.
If you like doing it, do it, or...
I'm not going to sit there and put it down. No. What are you doing that for?
Or I work these
Then they're going to feel suppressed, and nobody wants that. I mean, it's like, like an automotive guy. Back when I was really doing a lot of wrenching in my own garage and my own cars and stuff, it was like, I had girlfriends that were jealous of my time in the garage. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, this is something I'm happy about, but their insecurities are like, well, he's not with me right now, and I'm here. It's like, stop it, woman.
Yeah.
Men, we can focus on one singular thing, and when we're done with that, then we can pull out, forget it, and then focus on the other singular thing. And pull out was probably not the best choice of words in talking about women.
Yeah, well, I could go in other directions.
We can, men tend, in general, once again, tend to be more singular focused with our tasks. And when we're not with that woman, it's not that we're not, if we're not with her, we're not going to run around and do everything else. I'm thinking of like us as good men, right? There's other guys that are like fucking labs. They're going to run around and they'll fuck everything. And like, there's like all these lab puppies running around. Like, wait a minute.
They want to, they're not done soothing their royal oats, you know.
And I think some men are wired that way. And maybe if that's the type of man you want, go for it. But understand that's the type of man you're going to get and you're not going to change that. I'm not that type of person. I'm a one-woman kind of guy. But I can, the menu's there and I can look and appreciate it. But I'm not going to do anything. Because I'm loyal to whoever I'm with. And
right.
That's the expectation I have for someone else, too.
Whoever has me, has me. That's,
right.
You know, and it should be that way. You know, I don't try to cut down people that want to go out and have sex and that's all they want to do. But, you know, the whole manner behind it is be open about what it is, you know, you're doing. You know, at least give somebody the leeway to go, okay, I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to, you know, hey, that's your thing. You want to do it, go on ahead and do it. But I prefer not to be, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I do look for, one of the biggest qualities I look for in a woman is a woman to be loyal, committed to me and me to her, you know.
It's some of the hardest traits to find in people nowadays. And
it really is. I mean, everybody's got some kind of extraordinarily high body count, you know.
Yeah, and men and women alike. There's certain men it's more acceptable to have a higher body count.
Yeah.
And
women
is that unfair? Yeah, kind of. But
women are looked down on if they got a huge body count.
There's been a weird thing where, like, you know, feminists were trying to prop that up. But then it's like you're seeing a lot of these movements, like was it like the red pill movements and stuff like that, where they're just totally rejecting women like that. And okay, I mean, but that's your choice. I don't know. I like to think the past is the past. Leave it alone. But you bring baggage with every relationship you've had, but you also bring hopefully some experience if you're learning from it. Some of the baggage you might be bringing from past relationships might be your children, which, okay. And as we get older, that's something we all have. We all have to deal with. People have kids. That's normal. That's part of life. But traditionally, it was a family unit. Once you had children with someone, you were with that person, at least until those kids were grown. But yeah, we're kind of in a weird type of world now where we don't necessarily need the family unit. However, there seems to be a need for a family unit in raising children. Because I think a lot of the underdeveloped kids, which I refer to as the adult age adolescents, which are people that are adults, but they're acting like children. And I think some of the narcissistic behavior is adults that are basically children in mind. You know, they haven't progressed past like a 13-year-old in their brain, which is why they throw fits and do stuff like that and or act out. And it's slightly more dangerous as a man, because if a man throws a fit, or an adult-aged male throws a fit, that's a problem, because that can be, depending how big and strong that person is, could be a real problem, right?
Yeah.
If an adult female is throwing a fit, it just looks like a woman's screaming temper tantrum, which people can run and duck and then it's over with. But
yeah, in a relationship, doing harm to anybody is pretty much the deal breaker right there. As soon as that starts happening in a relationship, that's when it's pretty much over with.
People with those immature mindsets, they do harm to others. And it's not physical. It may not be physical. Some of it is, but a lot of it's mental harm. And sometimes that takes longer to recover than physical harm.
That too. I mean, there's verbally and there's verbal abuse and there's physical abuse, which has no place at all being in a relationship. And it's usually the recipe for destroying a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're constantly verbally abusing a woman and making her feel down on herself and trying to belittle her self-esteem, man, that's not going to help you in a relationship.
They shouldn't stick around for that, in all honesty.
No, they shouldn't.
And the other thing to reflect on is what's the common denominator in all your failed relationships? Right? So take ownership of that, learn from it, grow from it, and try to be better for the next time around. And don't harbor any type of hate for anyone in your past, and because that carries forward, and it
in general,
makes you look like an uglier person as a result.
No, I don't hold any hate feelings towards any of my ex-girlfriends. I'm not. You know, we've pretty much, if we broke up harshly and there was at one point hard feelings, we've made amends. You know, we're good to go. You know, none of them are, like I said, none of them are. They're not hating me, and I'm not hating them.
And I as well, but I also feel like certain people need more boundaries than others, right? And some of them you got to keep at a further distance than others, because it's just the way they are and the way they affect your life, and you just need certain boundaries to maintain your own health, your own mental health, your own physical health. And mental health and physical health to me are very well connected. It's the reason why you get stressed, you build cortisol in your system, the fight or flight response. If you don't physically exercise, fight or flight, it stays in your system and causes harm over time. And it does all kinds of damages over time. So stress at the job, stress in a relationship, stuff like that can cause a lot of harm. You physically exercise, you can burn a lot of that out of your system and recover. But if you don't exercise and you're stressed, it's just going to harm you over time. So that's a mental physical connection through biology, through neuroscience. I've learned all this kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, so there's a good enough reason to want to exercise and stay in shape.
Right.
Which the benefit of that is you look a lot better, and then you get a lot more. Better. You feel a lot better, and then you get more notice from the opposite sex. And it's like, hey, all right, and that makes you feel even better, right? So there's an accumulation effect there. So the reward should be within a lot of that. And if you're in a relationship, and a lot of people do that, they get in relationships and they relax and they both gain weight and blah, 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 and maybe they're not as attracted to each other. I think there's a part of that, like, I think some sort of physical routine, and not just sex, but physical routine outside of that should be incorporated in a relationship, whether it's, so maybe you exercise together, maybe you go out for long walks together, maybe you go like bikes together, maybe just taking the kids to a park, playing on the dang playground equipment. I still love that. It's like some of the playground equipment the kids have now. I'm like, yeah, like I want to go on that. I almost think that'd be a fun date idea if you had someone who's like really physically active. Go to one of those parks when it's not so busy. Say, hey, honey, let's go climb on this shit. Let's have some fun. And if you got someone with that type of adventurous spirit and it matches yours, I think that's a good thing. But I don't know. I'm just throwing a lot out there. And you know what? I think a conversation like this, it would probably be kind of nice to have a little. I'd like to set that up sometime. I have a couple ladies on one side, a couple guys on the other side, and let's kind of throw these ideas back around and see get the woman's side of things. And I would love to have that on the podcast. That's kind of what the table's for. It's big. We're up right now. We got the high chairs. We're on high chairs now. We're on the bar stool height. I could have two here. I could have two there if they're not as big as this guy. Yeah. But I mean, you're broad, man. No,
I need to lose some weight, so yes. Nothing wrong with it.
Your shoulders are wide, and you can lose all kinds of weight, you're still going to wide shoulders, it's like, but
yes, I will always have a wide.
But you know what though, if we're having a podcast and it's a friendly conversation around the table,
with joking around.
Right. So yeah, and like I said, that's part of what this table is all about. It's like, let's come together, let's have these conversations, let's be open and free and not no anger. I don't
yeah,
want no conflicts. It's
We
kind of
don't want any personal offense. Nothing.
no. I mean,
Right.
we're trying to learn. You know, it's like
True. Yes.
so. Yeah,
We communicate so we can learn about some things that somebody else has to say. Grow from what it is they might be able to add to the equation. You know.
I'd definitely like to get some ladies on here and. Yeah, I could have Johnny Pat on one side. That'll make things interesting.
I mean, what would be your ideal woman, and not so much in a perfect sense, but a perfect fit for you?
An ideal one? Probably. I mean, someone who physically, I'd like someone who just stays in shape. That's really all I ask. And I'm not saying she has to be perfectly fit, athletic, cut all the time. No, it's just like just physically active, and I can see that and I can appreciate that in a woman. So that's the physical side. But on the mental side, I just need someone who's a match. Her femininity matches the masculinity. You know, it's like I like some traditional values. I also like some modern ideas. So I'm a good combination of that. Someone who can work with me as well as I work with them. It's kind of it's hard to label. It's one of those things where I'll know it when I see it. Right. And I've gotten along with different types of women, and we seem to fit. But it's like it's a fit, but it doesn't quite fit all the way, right? I need that fit to be
fully locked.
Yeah. I mean, you know, some things fit, but there's things outstanding but yeah, I need that complete fit where everything works. I don't know. Maybe I'm being picky, but obviously it has to have similar likes, because I think if we're too different in our likes, I mean, I think there's a disinterest there, right? We're not going to want to go to the same things. We're not going to same events, same things. But so yeah, I think I like someone who's got a good, fun spirit. You know, a zest for life. Someone who's got an adventurous spirit, like to go out and. I like to do small town travel and see things, and it's kind of one of the things I want to do with the podcast is go mobile. And
I would not like. Maybe I would just do a podcast in different areas.
Yeah, I think like I did one at the bistro, and I'd like to do like, you know, hey, be a good idea to get some sponsors that way, but go to like Michigan breweries and ask them if I can set up in a corner and talk to like the owner or you know a bartender or something, you know, just to kind of move the podcast around. But I guess getting back to what I want in a woman was like that adventurous spirit. She doesn't have to be here with me, but if she wants to go, right, if she wants to do those types of things,
right?
You know, anything like that. Just someone who just shares the experiences. And this isn't my entire life. This is a hobby right now. But you know, I've got a lot of varied interests. I've got a lot of things I like to do. Maybe someone who could help keep me on task, because sometimes I get onto so many different things, I lose myself and I start losing some of the more important things. You know, I'm doing some other things. Oh, laundry just piled up. Shit, now I got to stop what I'm doing. You know,
Yeah, I got
to take care of a house. I got 2 kids to take care of. There's a lot for me to do.
One goal at a time.
Yeah, someone to help keep me on task, maybe, or help divide and conquer with some stuff. And like, okay, that'll help me focus. I can do it, but it's just a lot of mental effort over time. So someone who's sometimes strong where I'm weak, and we can once again fit together that way. But
yeah, I mean, you need the iron to sharpen the iron, huh?
Yeah, or a sharpening stone.
There you go.
Which that's 2 different things, right? I mean, stone versus iron, right?
Well, you know, it's something that, you know, both people working together, you know, can 2 brains are better than 1, you know.
Yeah.
I guess the perfect fit for me, I guess, would be a woman that, yeah, I mean, I don't want to put too much of an unfair expectation on a woman because I'm not in the greatest shape myself. But it would be nice to have a woman that does go to the gym and takes care of herself.
I was going to say, I mean, what if you had someone to work out with? You know, what if she helped you out?
That probably wouldn't be too bad.
Right?
A good workout partner probably wouldn't be that bad.
Right. I mean, it's more of when you have a partner to work out with, it's more of a motivation to work out, right?
It is, and you know, we can we could work through it and help each other out. Other thing, you know, I look for a woman that has, you know, I don't expect her to be a perfect worker, but I do look at work ethic. You know, I think.
Oh yeah.
I would like to have be nice to have a career woman, or at least a woman that has a job. You know what I mean? That I do look at personality wise and mental. Just somebody that's friendly, easygoing, somebody to get along with, you know. I hate fighting and arguing in a relationship. That makes me really miserable. I just don't want to do it, and I won't do it for too long, you know. I
think, yeah, there's a lot of women that seem to just like and thrive on drama.
They do. They live the fight.
Men like that.
Somebody's gonna pick a fight with me. That's really not helping them at all.
Yeah, I don't know many men, if any at all, that like that. And it's like, you know what? But that's something they have to work on internally. And there are some women that are great at it. And it's like, wow, that's impressive. A woman that doesn't deal with a lot of drama, like, it's kind of rarity. But it's impressive to see when you got a woman like that. You know, calm spirit too. Like, there are some like dating coaches I listen to online. That Sarah Dawn Moore, I think her name is. She's really pretty. She has just this calm, collected way of speaking, and it's like, damn, that actually ends up being so sexy to see a woman that's that calm and very direct. And actually, she seems to understand male minds much better than a lot of women do, and like, that's really cool. You know, I'm trying to do my best to understand the female brain, and to have a woman like that who's doing her best to understand the male brain. I understand that we're different and we do think different. And there's things that women, when they want to talk about their day and there's any dramatic stuff that they want to talk about, that's going to be girlfriend talk. Don't bring that to your man. You have a problem you want to solve, bring that to your man. He's definitely going to want to help you out. I mean, that's I'm the Mr. Fix-It type, you know, like, bring me a problem, I'll help you solve it. But you want to just tell me about your day and drew around, like, it's not gonna go over well. You can do it once or twice, but after a while, you try to keep it up and keep consistent. It's like something's gonna short circuit, and I'm not gonna operate correctly. But
right.
So that understanding has to be there. Like, yeah, for some reason, it's like, man, taken me such a long time to really start to learn a lot of this. And it's almost as if I could take this brain and put it back in my 20-something-year-old body, how much better off it would be. But it is what it is at this point. So, yeah, that kind of wishful thinking probably isn't that helpful either. You just have to take what you have and still make the best of what you got. And, you know, it's sad that so many of us take a lifetime to learn this stuff. And but I think the day we stop learning is the day we die. So,
and that's it, man. It's learning is a lifelong process. It's continuous, and it's something that you've got to keep up with. It's something that, it continues on and on. And there, for one thing, I find out there's 10 things that I don't really understand or know.
Yeah, we talked about this last night. I think we were out and about. We were talking about, you said something about talking to someone that just knows, that just know it, right? Like,
well, I don't view myself.
That's a locked mindset that they're not going to.
They're a locked mindset.
They're not going to learn anything new from you, so
right.
They're not going to listen to you.
I don't view myself as being a smart person. I view myself as somebody that's continuously learning.
Which I think is a better mindset overall.
I think if you look at yourself as being a smart person, you look at certain things that I just don't need to know it because I already know everything. It makes somebody sound more like they're a know-it-all than
right.
Somebody that's more because anybody that's learning knows that they're a student within themselves at all times. And to claim smart, I just can't do. I think our learning capacity starts slowing down with age, and our ability to remember things starts to fade. I
think your brain's like a muscle, though. The more you exercise it, the better it performs.
Yes.
And neuroplasticity is a thing where the more you work on memory tricks and stuff like that, the better it operates. But yeah, there are things we can put in our bodies that deter that, like all the different type of sugars and all kinds of things we're not supposed to eat, but that can actually have negative effects on your brain and your body and how it functions. But yeah, that's we're not drinking beer, by the way. We're actually drinking some relatively sugar-free kind of drinks and stuff. We're just kind of discussions we had about trying to eat healthier and stuff like that. But I still wanted something we put in a mug so we can sit here and clank glasses with. But going back to the know-it-alls, and I think I told you about my analogy about knowledge and learning, and I came up with this analogy living in the Carolina mountains when I did a lot of hiking and stuff there. And it's like every time you're learning something, you're learning a new subject. It's like you're starting at the base of that mountain and you're climbing those trails, and there's switchbacks and stuff, and there's points where like, fuck, is this ever ending? It's like, but then you get to the top and the peak and the payoff and you get a beautiful view. And it's like, now I've learned everything I can learn about that subject. However, there's other sides of that mountain that you didn't climb. You climbed up one side of it. Mm-hmm. But when you're on the top of that mountain and you can look around and get this beautiful view, what do you see? You see more mountains. And some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. And every one of those mountains is like a different subject of knowledge that you should be realizing that you know, or you need to know. And like, okay, I can see all this other knowledge out there. Now I got to go climb each one to learn that. And can any one person do that in their lifetime?
No.
Not likely. But can one person climb a lot of them? I think so. So there was a saying that I heard recently. I think we all know people say that the jack of all trades, master of none. And that's kind of where a lot of people know, but there's a greater part to that where it's jack of all trades, master of none. But I'm going to butcher it, and I'll have to put it up here. But it's still better than the knowledge of one, I think, like that. I think that's how it goes. Jack of all trades, master of none, but still better than master of one. And that's something that, I heard that. It's like, yes, I've worked in test labs. I've had PhD level engineers as my go-to guy to work with. They're master of one. They got a high degree, high amount of knowledge in one thing. Problem with engineers and people like that, they think that knowledge applies to everything else that's not in their subject range.
Right.
Well, I'm a PhD. I've got blah, blah, blah schooling. But you're really good at one thing. You're not good at all these other things. Me, right. I'm more of a general intelligence guy. I've climbed a lot of mountains, maybe not one nearly as high as you, but I've climbed a lot of other mountains. And you need all of my knowledge to support that. So that's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're hearing people in the news and the media talking about, specialist, or, well, this guy's a scientist. I'm like, it's a very general term. Generally, a scientist is someone who's really sharp on one subject. And if you're an astrophysicist, you got nothing on biology. Neil deGrasse Tyson. So it's like, I like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but he's a fucking astrophysicist. He's a teacher.
He gets a little arrogant.
He gets arrogant. He thinks that as translated over, well, I'm so smart in this, so I can talk to these other subjects at the same level. No, you can't. Talk to Richard Dawkins when it comes to evolutionary biology, not Neil deGrasse Tyson. Talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson, you will learn about space and planets and stuff. Fucking phenomenal at that. Love that guy for that. He's got the smooth, brassy voice and everything. Great. When he gets out of that subject range, not so much. And his knowledge base isn't any better than most people's. And that's just another good example of all that. And how did I drift all the way over to this from women? But
we have to talk about knowledge, intelligence.
Yeah.
I don't expect my woman to be an absolute genius. Be able to hold a conversation with her. At least that converse kind of like me and you do.
Yeah, it's typically similar IQ levels, similar experience levels, and similar, social status levels, right?
When we do argue, learn to agree to disagree.
And there is some of that, right? I mean,
There has
there's
to
something
be
that we're
some of
not
that.
always going to agree on, and we just have to put that aside and just understand, okay. And don't roll your eyes next time that subject comes up with the other person. Like, and hear them out, and maybe they know something you don't. That's kind of what I do a lot of. I was just out the other night and talking with a hockey friend. He was going through a lot of stuff, and this other guy was kind of listening in, and he was like, "Oh, talking about hockey," and he was giving his spew like, "Oh, I started when I was in my 40s, and I'm doing all this and that, and I'm outrunning some of these guys that are way better than me." And my other guy's like, "That's bullshit." And he just checked out of the conversation. I'm like, listening in. I'm smelling some bullshit here too, but I'm listening in to try to find out where this guy's coming from. He's talking with a smile, and it's like, I'm in my 60s now, and I'm still playing, and I'm this great, and patting himself in the back quite a bit. So I'm just kind of listening in more and more. It's like, okay, I'm at a point where now it's like, I want to see you, buddy. Well, I want to see you do this. Like, come on out and play with us. Let's see how it goes. But we'll see if anything like that happens. But it's like, a lot of times someone who talks about how great they are, when they get out there and show themselves, they're not nearly as good as they're projecting themselves to be. In hockey, you're definitely humble. There's always humble people. You talk up, you run your mouth, someone's going to smack you down. That's just the way the game is. But so that's, to me, is also something to be aware of. And people that brag heavily about themselves.
Yeah, I don't like people that just, when they brag on themselves too much, it's just, oh boy. And I've done it, but I've done it teasing around and joking.
It's different when you're joking versus
As to where
it's like,
you're 100% serious about it.
You're trying to sell someone your skill set.
Like, you got that mindset that you're the greatest ever. Buddy, somebody's going to knock you off your block, man. And that's just what they're going to do.
Even Wayne Gretzky would not. I'm not the greatest ever. It's like that's humble. That's what people should be. You might have some skills that are better than other people, and that's cool. But even I remember seeing an interview with Wayne even recently. It was an old interview, and they were asking him, like, he just broke some records and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, do you ever think everyone's ever going to break your record?" And he's, "Oh yeah, for sure." And no doubt. Records are meant to be broken, kind of thing. Like, yeah, okay. His record's standing. A lot of his records are still standing, but
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. So yeah, he's one of those guys that's just you can call him a freak of nature, but he's probably one of those guys that was playing the game, a right style of the game during the right time. Where even if
Wasn't he a big player in the 80s?
Yeah. Well, he's the best in the NHL ever. He's like the great one, the guy with the most records and stuff. But he's phenomenal figure, but humble too, right? He's not running around like, I'm the greatest ever, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way I think most people should be. And like people that pat themselves in the back a little too hard, that's a warning sign. That's a red flag,
That's a mental illness.
A little bit, yeah. It also says something about there's a certain level, like what I like about hockey is the self-regulation.
I guess people just don't know how to handle the attention around it and balance it too well.
Well, if there's someone who's going to smack you down for talking a bunch of shit, you're less likely to talk a bunch of shit. It's like if you're in a room of people and you're going to run your mouth about how badass you are, and there's some big gorilla is sitting over there, how likely are you to run your mouth, right? I'm like, probably not, because that motherfucker's going to stand up and smack you down and make you look stupid. You just built yourself up to be this greatest person ever, and someone just knocks you out. Now you don't look so good. Now you actually look like a fool. And that's where it shows, where if you're strong, if you're confident in your skills, you don't have to say anything about it. Other people will say it for you. Hey man, that person's got really good skills. You should go over there and ask him. That's how people know you're good. When other people are pointing to you. And you do that through being who you are. And that says a lot to the masculine side of things, right? I think that's a problem in society. It's definitely a problem online. People run their fucking mouths. It's like, and they make people feel like shit. I ask for criticism, comments and stuff, but I want it to be constructive. Give me some advice I can use. People are like, you suck. It's like, well, would you run up to Mike Tyson and say that? Would you? I mean, would you be brave enough to say it right to his face? That guy is a monster. to this day, he still is. I guarantee you wouldn't run up to it and say it to his face. Don't say it online. That's how people should act, you know, and that's the way I feel about it. And that's how you should go about approaching anybody, whether it's in person or online or whatever. Don't say something unless you can back it up. And I don't know, too many people have not been smacked down properly, and it shows. And that's something that real men would do, right? And someone's going to stand up and run his fucking mouth to another man or his woman. A real man will stand up, put that man in his place. Yeah, I'm not talking about violently jumping up and just beating the shit out of someone. I'm talking about he's going to handle the situation. Yeah. And if it escalates to that, then he will punch him in the face. But and if that person is anything, if that person is anything of a man, they'll accept it. Oh fuck, I fucked up. But the problem is that mentality of that person is like, well, I'm going to be right no matter what, so I'm going to come back, I'm going to get a gun or a knife, or, you know, it's like, no, you need to learn too that you just got smacked down for a fucking reason.
Right.
And it's this lack of knowledge that we seem to
I want you to understand why I gave you that spanking.
Right. Right. Maybe that stuff comes from fatherhood or having a good father figure in the home, and that's why that companion is important, the male and female aspect, not just for each other, but for raising the children and allowing that child to grow into an adult, function in society. So, there, I brought it all around. I brought it all back to the point. About family unit and masculine and feminine and working together and raising children into life these days, and understanding that certain people need to be kept in line. It's typically up to the men to do it. And a lot of times, some men will let a lot of shit fly, and some women will point it out. Like, that guy's bugging me. And then it's like, they'll go to a man to defend her at that point. That guy's bugging me. All right. What do we need to do? You know, it's like, and then it's up to that man to manage that situation properly. Yeah. And I've witnessed this, and I've had to take people and kind of push them apart at times. You know, let a cooler head kind of prevail. But I think we need more of that in society, that self-governance, which I see in hockey still to this day. Not as much as they try to take things out, take the fighting and hitting and stuff out of it. You end up with people that play nasty, that get away with more dirty shit. Mm-hmm. And it makes the sport ugly. It makes it more like a fucking trailer park WWE kind of wrestling match where people are just doing nasty stuff. But it's for real. It's for real out there versus, you know, WWE being all scripted. But
yes, everything's scripted, but it's still fun. I like watching it.
I always call that the trailer park soap opera.
I called it a soap opera for men for the longest time, but that's
probably a better statement than what you're saying and what I'm saying.
Right. Well, I grew up watching it.
It could be taken the wrong way.
I thought a lot of those wrestlers were pretty cool. They had good stage acts. They would come in, had some pretty good moves. I enjoyed it. It was good entertainment for me. I loved it.
Flat out impressive what they can do physically.
I mean, I was always a big Ravishing Rick Rude guy. You know, I liked him. I liked his stage act. I thought it was pretty cool.
Liked Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Macho Man.
Macho Man was cool. He kind of took a while to warm into him. Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Yes. different character with Macho Man, but
yeah. So yeah, as long as you're watching it for the actual just entertainment of it, and yeah.
I do, and I understand most of it was scripted and everything, but I still love the entertainment end of it. and you know, I guess you could consider it a sport because there was some physical activity that was involved. They were competing against each other.
That's like calling a ballet a sport.
Well, no,
there's physical activity involved, and it's all scripted.
It's not under competition, but there is a winner that's determined. So I guess,
but not. No, that's scripted too. No,
well, it is predetermined.
But it's like there's some free for all. There's some, what they call that, like improv. There's an improv that happens in the middle, which is it's still acting, but versus like a ballet or a play or something like that is all 100% scripted. So yeah, but I mean, is there talent there? Yeah. Is it
Yes,
entertaining? That's up to the
There
that's
is
up to the
entertainment.
beholder.
There is entertainment in it, and there is talent in it. And they have to be able to practice those moves. They have to be able to perform on a certain level. You know, and some of it's like the. I'm not going to talk about modern wrestling. Modern wrestling to me, I just want to turn my head and look at it. But I mean, I seem to think that we grew up in the generation that had the best performing wrestlers and the best well-scripted wrestlers.
But unfortunately, it may be an example of what, like that overly masculine kind of stuff. But
There's definitely a lot of masculinity in there.
too much testosterone. But no,
Down
it's.
there, smack your lips in, boy, like a Stone Cold kind of wrestler.
But you know what though? That's the kind of thing that we need to understand. That's entertaining. That's not reality. Big difference, right? So
Yes.
we need to be more grounded with what we're trying to portray and what we're trying to talk about. What we're trying to, and I feel like reaching the age of wisdom, which is I think in your 40s, when you start to develop some white hairs and gray hairs, and I've noticed that people will listen to me now, like especially younger guys. And when I speak, they actually will listen to me, like, I got a little power here, you know. But it's also like, shit, I better be telling them something that's valuable. So I'm like, okay, all right, now that they're listening to me, I better be smart about this and teach them something of value. So again, compiling knowledge from those around me, people smarter than me, whether it's online or in person, and then trying to convey that back to people in general. And doing it on video here is a way of preserving that knowledge for future generations. You know, if for some reason I'm gone, can't do this anymore, this knowledge is out there. It's digitized. It should be immortalized at that point. Hopefully,
as long as they have YouTube, and I don't see YouTube going anywhere for a long, long time.
Well, I mean, even the platforms move around. You know, you can, and that's part of my 2024 expansion would be. Rounding out my 20 episodes, maybe cleaning up some of the older ones, and then moving into other platforms, and then trying to get more guests. You know, I think a male versus female panel just on some good subjects, and trying not to drop red pills and do all this crap that some of these other podcasts do, just for drama, just for effect.
Effect, drama.
Yeah, I'm not into that. I don't want to do that. I'm kind of want to be the antithesis of that.
You know what?
If it happens, it happens. You know, like
Are you talking like
a good sandwich moment? You know, like
hey, you have a couple males and a couple females on a podcast.
Yeah, well, we can use like the subject of men and women and dating and stuff like that, and just get both sides' perspectives on it. You know, and have that be something that's broadcast out that other people can pick up and understand. You know, it's like as a male on dating side, it's tough. It's really tough. The competition is high, and it's very difficult to get through, and just to get someone to notice you, first of all. But
Even confidence still gets you met with confidence can still get you met with rejection, and the rejection end is on all high. You know, I was watching a video on YouTube that said by sometime in the 2030s there'll be a huge population of women that are in their between the ages of 30 and 45. That are single and have never been married and don't have children. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pretty profound right there. If there's any truth or validity to that video that I watched,
and their reproductive years are behind them after 40, and it gets more.
Well,
every year after 40, it gets more and more dangerous for them to have a child. Not that they can't, but it's just not recommended. But yeah, so. Population collapse is something that Elon Musk predicts that is going to be one of the bad things for our economy in general and our society. We have a bunch of people that are getting older and no children to take care of them, even to work for funds to take care of them. You know, it's like we're going to be at a nasty collapse. You know, it's like Japan's seeing that now. China saw that when they saw it when they did the one child rule, then they stopped that. I'm like, oh shit, it's going to really hurt us. And here we're just electing to do it. I go back to the scariest thing ever is the scene from Idiocracy when they're doing the case study with the high IQ couple versus the low IQ people. Yeah. And then the high IQ couple keep waiting and waiting to have a child and waiting for the right time, waiting for things financially to be set and blah, blah, blah. They're making all the smart decisions. And then the end result is they never have a kid and one dies or whatever. Meanwhile, over here, Jim Bob and Joey and all the trailer park women have
pushed out like 5 kids.
There's like 500 kids. It's like, and they get dumber and dumber as they go. And it's like, oh shit. It's like,
oh no.
So the high IQ people aren't reproducing, and low IQ people are reproducing like rabbits. And even with the dumb, and then the modern medicine and modern surgical techniques and modern safety protocol, we're keeping these people alive. We don't have Darwinism to kill them off. Like dumb people would usually kill themselves off, but we gotta pad everything. We gotta pad every corner. We gotta put warning labels on things. Like I think we're at a point in society where we need to start. I've said this before. This is why I won't run for president, but we got to remove the warning labels and let some things sort itself out for a while. And that doesn't help the population expansion, but it does help thin the herd in terms of getting the dumber ones out of the gene pool. And then we have to figure out a way to make things right for the higher IQ people to have children so we can have a greater advantage in the future. But just a theory. And I loosely base that off of stuff that Elon Musk has said. But I mean, there's someone, my goodness, a conversation with that guy and his knowledge and what he knows. And I tend to agree. I agree with a lot of what he says. And I have friends that don't like him for certain reasons. I have friends who don't like him for political reasons.
I've got a few friends that don't like Elon Musk.
But
and
my thought is they don't know him. They only get a surface value, maybe a mainstream media take on who he is.
And I mean, do we really know anybody that's sitting on that tube? I mean,
yeah,
we really don't. We just know what other people have said about them, and what has really been said on the camera, and that's about it.
Well, that's where you're wrong, though. He does a lot of interviews and podcasts and stuff. He does talk a lot.
Well, he does.
He owns Twitter, which is X now. He speaks on that a lot. And I've heard people like, "Oh, Twitter's just gone to crap." I'm like, well, I've been on there. It doesn't look any different to me. I'm like, in fact, it seems to be improving in some areas.
I don't really.
Which is another platform that they're talking about doing video styles and podcasts and stuff on, and potentially a higher payout too. So if I get to the point where I can monetize, it's a platform I might look into. But I may have to do the shorter segment stuff. I think they're only doing up to an hour right now, but I have to look into that. I'm a little slow on the uptake with the social media stuff, but I think what's out there, you have to find it. You have to look out for it, and if you're interested in it, you'll find it. But if you take just the headline grabber, the clickbait shit that grabs people, and that's all you read. It's like you look at a YouTube clip and someone like Elon Musk bad. I'm like, no, I mean, explain why. You go into the video and it may not even be all that. The video may have said one gaffe or something that people don't like, but then it explains everything else about what he's doing. It's like, put it in context, it makes better sense. But too many people read headlines, they read clickbaits, and that's what they base their knowledge off of. Again, another thing I'm trying not to do all clickbaity with things. I might experiment with that sometime, but I probably won't do it for this. I'll probably do it for some other videos and stuff I do. But
some other videos.
But just to kind of work algorithms and see what it takes to kind of do a little bit of Mr. Beast kind of thing, where I'm trying to learn as much as I can about the different platforms and just leverage some stuff. But the knowledge I want to put out there, I just want to be as open and honest as possible, and it may not be right on everything, but my mindset is free to learn. If I don't know, explain why. If you don't have a good reason why, you didn't convince me. And a lot of those people that read the headlines and stuff like that, like on Elon Musk, they don't know him very well. And so if you don't know something very well, how can you pass any type of judgment on it?
True.
I mean, name one person who's done more for our country, our environment, our space program than anybody else out there. Name one person that does anything more than he's done. Nobody. Nobody's come close to that guy. So what's a criticism for? It's like, and I always say, if you want to criticize somebody, go out and do better. Show me. If you can't do it, then fuck you.
Right?
You're an idiot. Get out of here. I don't need that. So until I can do better than him, I can't criticize him. Maybe there's some things we can look at and say, okay, maybe you can counsel him on some areas of knowledge I have, but I guarantee he knows as much, if not more, than I do. The way he navigated and beat the auto industry and came into light, he knew the history that I know. He knew the history of Tucker and DeLorean and all that stuff. Probably so much more around that, and he knew a lot about how to navigate all the things that they were going to throw at him. And they threw the same playbook at him that they did those other two. And that's like over the last 70, 80 years, So he's got that knowledge, and he was able to use that to make that car company successful. And Tesla is an American success story, 100%. So you as an American, why would you criticize that? Give me a good reason. Teslas are more American than any other car on the road. As an American, why would you criticize that? So that's a subject I can talk a lot about. That's one of those things that's part of the bigger conversation that I want to get into. That's out there and online, and I think my knowledge and background can speak to a lot of the stuff that I think I can speak to areas that people are trying to understand, because I have some inside knowledge that a lot of others don't. Even like Sandy Monroe, my former employer, it's like he's got a similar background to me. He's more advanced because he's been around longer, but I have a slightly different perspective and a slightly different knowledge base, which I can add to the conversation in areas that he may not be catching very well. So I want to be part of all that. That's part of my growth story. And then I know I kind of ramble on and wander all over the place, but I guarantee it's all interconnected. Look at my brain and look at all the different things I know, and it all does come around and is connected. And maybe that growth to me is part of my own growth story and where I want to go and take things and the goals I want, and what I want in a female is like someone who can support me in some of that. I got a lot of crazy ideas, and if someone can support me in chasing some of them, and all that support really has to be is just, hey, go for it kind of thing, or let me help you, or hey, you're doing this wrong, or you could probably do this better, I'll accept that. So, man, I love women.
I do too.
I love everything about them. It's like the women that hear music and gotta dance. I love that kind of stuff, and just look at their outward beauty, their inner tenderness, the opposites of masculine traits. It's just. And I think we should round it up there and kind of close it out. And I think we've done enough.
Yes, sir.
Unless there's anything else you want to add.
No, pretty much all the bases you just touched. I'm all right. I mean,
anything you disagree with, or no?
I don't even see any standing disagreements. I don't really know enough about cars to argue with you about Elon Musk, so I'm not up there with the engineering.
I hate to say it, but not many do. But I'll hear you out if you got something to say. So, but I'm going to tell you, I know quite a bit, and it's not just what I know about him; it's about what I know in the whole industry.
Yeah,
and I can tell you who seems to be right and who seems to be wrong, and that guy's on the side of right like 98% of the time. And if you want to hang on to that 1 or 2% of the time where he's wrong, what are you doing, dude? You're fighting a losing battle. So, yeah. All right. I think that's it from the pub. And tip your servers well. And we'll have a good night, everyone. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
And now on Pub Wisdom is a time I like to ask a very deep philosophical question, like, Why do women like to dance so much? I mean, I know what goes through a man's head on it.
Woman. Woman. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Woman.
What is it exactly that goes through a woman's head?
Yeah.
Because I really think there's something deeper there. However, keep dancing, women. We love it. Cheers.